There's a number you've probably heard, $1.5 million. That's the number they say you need to retire. And if you don't hit it, then you're one bad year, one medical bill, one mistake away from being broke. Now I'm starting to wonder, who is that number really for? Because for most of us, it doesn't even resemble a goal. It even sounds preposterous, especially the way the finish line keeps moving forward and increasing even more. So I want to make the case for something that might sound a little uncomfortable at first. Retiring poor. Poor by their standards. Not irresponsible, not unprepared, just done chasing a number that keeps moving. Done trading time for a version of retirement we may not even recognize when we get there. Now, before I go any further, I do want to make this clear. Now, I know for many in my generation, in Generation X, many are struggling, and many find the retirement numbers and the retirement math terrifying. There are some of us that are genuinely fighting to survive in this economy. But then there are the others that they have enough, but they're being frightened by the headlines and by the experts, frightened into working until they're 70 just because they don't have $1 million. So I'm here to tell you that if you have enough to be safe, then you have enough to be free. So the financial industry has a very clear message. More is safer. Work longer, save more, delay retirement. And sure, there's a lot of security in having a lot of money saved. Duh. But there's another side of it. Because every year that you stay in the system chasing that elusive target, only to be told that when you reach it, it's still not enough. That's another year of contributions, another year of fees, another year of your time. And I'm starting to think that fear is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. Because if the definition of safe is $1.5 million, a lot of people will never feel safe. And I don't know about you, but that just doesn't sit right with me. So what if I change the definition? What if success doesn't mean having the biggest number possible, but instead enough to step away while your life still feels like your own? I've been thinking of this as time wealth, because there's a version of retirement where you have more money, but less energy, less mobility, less curiosity, less desire to do anything with it. And that trade isn't talked about nearly enough. So what does poor actually look like? Because I don't think it looks like what we've been told. Now, we've been around long enough to see how the definition of poor and how the definition of middle class has been evolving through the decades. And of course, it's upward, always keeping us striving, one step behind, in debt. What used to mean, you were doing fine. No, that's not enough anymore. Does an 8-year-old car that's completely paid off, no payments, no stress, is that perceived as doing without? Not to me. To me, that's a $700 a month freedom ticket. Does cooking at home and not knowing about every restaurant in town, eating simple, a quiet dinner on the porch instead of a $120 night out, is that considered doing without? Because that's not what it means to me. That actually means calm to me. What about housing? What about a smaller place? one that's less to clean, less to maintain, less pulling at your time every weekend. Because a 3,000 square foot house, that can start to feel less like an achievement and more like a responsibility that never ends. Downsizing, that's not falling behind. It's stepping out and reclaiming what the American dream means to you and deciding what it means for yourself instead of being told what it needs to be. A Gen X average retirement might look a lot more like store brands, fixing things instead of rushing out to replace them, more time spent at the library, more picnics, more days at the park. Not paycheck to paycheck, not guessing every month. That's not what I'm talking about. Just choosing a simpler version of what's enough. And not because you have to, but because you finally have the time to. I mean, it might even mean sharing a space, community living, roommates. Roommates like that TV show. Thank you for being a friend. And here's the part that I don't hear talked about nearly enough. Every year you work longer to hit that bigger number, it costs you something. It costs time, energy, and those, they don't compound the way money does. And especially at this age, they start to decline. And we talk a lot about protecting our money, but we don't talk enough about protecting our ability to actually live the life that we're saving for. Because if your health starts slipping and your energy declines, that extra $200,000 you worked another 5 years for, it may not buy back what you gave up to get it. So I'm starting to think, this isn't about being rich or poor. It's about when do you get your time back? And I know that saving $1 million, it's not as difficult if you start in your 20s and consistently put money in. But I know for Gen X, and that's who mainly my audience is, if we didn't already do that, we don't get that chance again. So if hitting that $1.5 million that they tell you you need is an impossibility for you, then I don't see that as a problem. Maybe the retirement industry wants to tell you that there's no way you can retire without having that amount. But even in today's economy, even with the inflation, you can have a lifestyle that doesn't cost that much. Because you can drive an older car, you can eat at home, you can live a little smaller, and then you get to actually live your life while your body still cooperates. And that doesn't sound deprived to me at all. That sounds like freedom. So I'm curious, what's the number that you believe you need? And what's the one thing you'd be willing to give up to start your retirement chapter 1 year sooner? Now, I love thinking out of the box, sometimes even a little unconventionally. And I hope you enjoyed this retirement topic today. I enjoyed hanging out with you. So I'll see you in the next video. Take good care of yourselves. See ya. And if you don't, okay, start over.